Hello everybody, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I know this is a Saturday. I think it's the 31st of August. I was not able to get with you guys on Friday, so I wanted to come in and do a quick video just to let you guys know I'm thinking about you on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday as a matter of fact in the Northwest. But I just wanted to come on real quick and I wanted to talk about thoughts, and just a sidebar to let you guys know that on my professional Facebook page, I normally don't share other speaking opportunities that I have because I try to keep it more on the professional side, or I also post my mentors videos because I believe in the whole person concept. But if you go over to my Facebook page, which is my book, as you know, my book is a book. It's also a Christian inspired book, meaning that I add Christian scriptures in to encourage you. For those that don't believe, in God or in Christianity, I tell you to take out the principles of the book, and you will find your story in there. And so on that platform, I share a lot of times other speaking opportunities that I have or I engage in, and I post it there as opposed to my professional Facebook page. And so Thursday, I had the opportunity with a elite group of individuals to speak on a different platform. Those of you that know, on a different platform, and we talked about thoughts that are the keys to reveal your identity. And so I thought it was very relevant for this tribe. I really wanted to come in and talk about thoughts, because you are a sum total of your thoughts, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Where you are this very day is based off of the thoughts that you had at one particular time or another. And, as a mental health professional, as a trauma professional, one thing that I educate people is that, especially in a situation in which you've been with a narcissist, and this is a channel we talk about narcissism or domestic violence in general, but you have to remember, some of you guys have been raised by toxic family or narcissistic family, abusive family, whatever your trauma was at one particular time. And there were words that were released into the womb of your mind. Those words were released and your mind began to incubate it. Those words became pictures. Those pictures are called thoughts. And those thoughts are in your head. And you actually cultivate and turn those thoughts over and over and over. And then your brain assigns emotions to those. Feelings and emotions are assigned to those thoughts, and from that, when those feelings and thoughts are assigned to, those feelings and emotions are assigned to those thoughts, what ends up happening is nonverbal communication begins to manifest, which is in behaviors. And so when I am in a clinical setting, nonverbal communication is even more relevant than nonverbal communication, because oftentimes people can, I'm outside, you guys, so I'm itchy by these trees, so excuse me, I'm just over here itching, but when I sit in, the nonverbal communication is very powerful, because a lot of times people cannot articulate their thoughts, especially when you've been in an abusive situation. That's why a lot of people find that's why a lot of you need to talk to express your thoughts, to express your emotion, because a lot of times you cannot articulate what you feel and what you've been through. And so for someone to be able to come and begin to tell you some of the things that you've been through and put the emotions and thoughts together and express that, a lot of you find relief, like finally someone that understands. I've been there, I understand. But nonverbal communication, behaviors, poor behaviors, bitterness, anger, a lot of anger gives me an idea of what the thoughts are, because people sometimes can't express their thoughts. They cannot articulate their thoughts. But you have to remember also that throughout life, you have what is called the unconscious mind, the unconscious memory. And for some of you that have been traumatized, a lot of you that have been through things, a lot of you watch these videos, and I take what's in your conscious memory, your conscious mind, the consciousness, and add some type of what's the word I'm looking for? Make sense of it. In your conscious mind, I provide words, I provide actions, I provide examples, which connects you with your unconscious memory. For some of you, like, I didn't even think about this, or, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because in your unconscious memory, in your unconscious mind, the unconscious mind cannot differentiate the difference between reality and fantasy. And so you may have heard something, the narcissist says things, and if they say enough negative things about you, your brain is going to assign emotions and feelings to it. You feel depressed. Your body feels depressed. You have a low self-esteem. You're always anxious. You're always just on the move. You can't think straight. Your thoughts don't even seem like your thoughts anymore. These are someone else. Remember the echoes. Remember the narcissistic echoes that I talked about. These are words from your past that have created thoughts and pictures in your head that you cultivated and added. So really, if you think about it, yes, you are responsible for the thoughts in your head because you're cultivating them, but you weren't responsible for who said what to you when they degraded you, when they manipulated you, when they embarrassed you, and then you feel these emotions. You feel, you have the emotions and feelings that are assigned to it. And so your mind is so powerful. If you think about it, a lot of you, when you go to mental health counseling, if you come to me, that's what I do. I connect your subconscious mind with your conscious mind to give you some revelation or give you some, that aha, that epiphany, and add those two together to show, have you ever thought that maybe you act like this because your behavior is like a puzzle piece to me? So your behavior, I can almost assign it to certain thoughts, to certain feelings, and I can say, this normally when I see this type of behavior, normally that's an indicator of this and this and this and this. Let's just talk about children. That I have worked with children before, and that's why I really don't work with children. That's a very sensitive topic because they're so young, and to have to deal with children that have been sexually abused and sexualized at a very early age. I had clients who were young children in my office that were very sexualized in their behaviors. They took Barbie dolls and it's too young for the Barbie dolls to have sex. The Barbie dolls are having sex, and they're showing how they're having sex, or they're giving me, they're talking about someone, and all of a sudden they start talking about how their bodies begin to move, and and they were doing this, and and you're thinking to yourself, like, where did you get that from? Well, the behavior is letting me know the thoughts because of what they saw or what was said or what was done to them, and their bodies begin to act it out, and so, but your mind is so powerful. You are responsible for your, when I say your thought, you are responsible for your thoughts. What are you cultivating? What are you nourishing? What are you turning over and over and over where you have bitterness and anger? A lot of you don't even know what to think anymore because you're living off of the thoughts of someone else. Some of you grew up, basically had relationships at a very young age with these narcissistic individuals or your parents. And so you have been nurtured, you have been taught to think a certain way, and you didn't know any better. When you're young, you don't know how you're supposed to think. You just trust the adults in your life. And so you cultivate these thoughts, and you have arrived at this place in your life where you wonder, where do these thoughts come from? Well, it's good to, look at your behaviors and why am I always anxious? It's called triggers as well. Why am I triggered when people do this? Why am I, or just a simple, an example is if you were abused as a child, and so quick motions or hand motions or standing up really quick, kind of makes your behaviors is letting me know, okay, why are you triggered by that? And I don't know, I'm always, or I can't stand the smell, or I just don't like this season. Well, what happened in this season? And you begin to put two and two together from your subconscious mind, but those are thoughts, and it's not good because even trauma, the brain wants to protect you. And so it's a good and bad thing because the brain protects you and hides those traumatic experiences and thoughts and feelings and emotions in your subconscious mind where you become triggered. It leaks out in your behavior and you're triggered and don't know why you're triggered, And so, but your mind is so powerful. You are the greatest creation, however, whatever your thoughts of creation are, but you are the greatest creation on this earth. You have the capability of producing beautiful things. Someone thought of an aircraft. Somebody thought of flying, and they sat and they cultivated these thoughts, and they looked at the birds and they wondered how, and they started studying, and it became a passion, and they became excited about it. Have you ever seen someone, or even talk? I'm very passionate about what I talk about. I think about it all the time. I turn it over, and how can I help? So whenever I go places, I always think of an opportunity to bring information, like a mama bird, bring some information back to the nest for the rest of the family, or a big sister or auntie, whatever you guys see me as and let me go collect this for the tribe, and this is something that we can eat off of and turn over in our mind. And so I'm very passionate about it. You can tell by the energy that I have that I'm very passionate about seeing you guys or hearing about you guys recovering and learning, and oh my gosh, I never thought of it, because I know just by some of the things that you're saying that your unconscious mind is now releasing information, and you in your conscious mind, when interjected or when new information is given, you know, you're just like the narcissist, all these words, that word salad, the words and the things that they say to tear down your sense of self, you know. But I can come back in as a professional to come in and begin to show you what your value is. It makes you start thinking very differently, because some of you even said, I didn't even think this way before I met this person. I wasn't even this way. Some of your appearances begin to look, your appearances, your behavior and your appearances, you know, is an indicator of what your mind is thinking. It lets me know what you look like, how you hold your body. You know, you walk around with your head down all the time. If you just look pitiful in the face, you know, some people just look pitiful in the face. It just lets me know what I don't know exactly what your thoughts are, but I do know that you have very dysfunctional thoughts. Why do you think in the mental health, the DSM, you know, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, you know, why do you think that you have thought disorders? Then you also have mood disorders. Then you have behavioral problems. Think about it. I just said you are a sum total of your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. So thought disorders, mood disorders, behavioral problems. When children act out in school, when you have a child that happens to have problematic behaviors, you have to go back and think there's some emotional issues there, and they're acting it out because they do not know how to articulate it. But there's also some thought problems. What has been interjected? What have they experienced? What have they seen? What have they been told that their mind begin to incubate, that they begin to play out, you know? And so, but your mind is brilliant, you know, the mind that creates beautiful art, that creates beautiful music, that creates beautiful apartment buildings and parks and aircraft and automobiles. It started with a thought. And so your thoughts, negative or positive, can create a negative or a positive effect. You have to literally think on purpose. In order to heal, you have to think on purpose. Where did that thought come from? Why are you thinking that way? Who told you that? What the kids say, where they do that at? You know, but who taught you to think like that? Where did you get that thought from? And that's why I told you guys, keep a journal and write down, this is how I feel about myself. Some of you say, I feel like I'm going to die. Don't speak it into existence. That's how powerful your mind is. When I wanted to lose weight, I began to see myself as thinner. I'm not saying that I was unrealistic and I saw myself looking like Beyonce, or I saw my body like, that's unrealistic. Some of you guys just, yours, it don't work, Dr. C, because I imagine myself looking like Beyonce. Well, you can't look like Beyonce if you look like Shrek. That's just not going to happen. That's not even realistic. You got to be realistic, you know. But when at one point in time, when I began to envision myself losing weight, I had a goal in mind, because I had a back injury from the military, and I knew the weight that I was carrying was affecting my weight, you know, and then my knees, you know, and that's not how I was in the military. I was pretty, you know, mobile, but it started to affect my back. And so I didn't, you know, start imagining losing weight to look a certain way to impress people. I began to imagine I've got to get this weight off of me to get the pressure and the torque off of my spine. And as I begin to watch what I eat and discipline myself, I begin to envision myself at a size, I'm not going to tell you, whatever size it was that I envisioned myself. Well, 56 pounds later, I am the size that I envisioned myself at. That it was a thought. And in that thought, what does it require for me to get to this point? Which means a lot of discipline, which means a lot of people walking around eating a cheesecake as big as my head, and it never fails. You know, the church family that I have, the moment you decide that you're going to lose weight, they come out with the biggest succulent cheesecake, and they're frying up Brontosaurus burgers, and just smells all boy. So you have to have a lot of discipline. You will be challenged. When you decide to heal, when you decide to lose weight, you will be challenged because your mind is going to fight you. Your mind is going to fight, your mind. Sometimes your mind is not reality. What is in your mind is sometimes not reality, but it becomes your reality, and you begin to live out your reality. That's why some people, we look at the narcissist and you're like, what kind of reality do you live in? What kind of fantasy world are you in? They create their own reality. They create what is real to them in their mind, and they live out this fantasy. So if they're capable of doing it and they're dysfunctional and they destroy people, and the other thing that I talked about was the micro expressions and the micro behaviors. So what happens is your thoughts have energy, and those thoughts are assigned feelings and emotions, and they create behaviors. Some behaviors are very obvious and people are aware of them, and some of them are micro behaviors or micro expressions. And I had it written down somewhere, but micro expressions are those brief momentary expressions that they're muscle, and they're expressions that cannot be controlled, and sometimes, and you're not aware of. And it's a brief look, like a Freudian slip. It's a brief look into the real thoughts and feelings that you have about a particular topic, or the feelings that you're having or experiencing at that moment that you're not even aware that you're giving off. Micro behaviors exactly the same way. The way you look, the way you walk, when you have an attitude, when you don't like someone, or when you're in fear. Sometimes when you are in fear of that narcissist, your behavior, though you're trying to look very confident, you look almost arrogant. It kind of doesn't match up because you're trying to make yourself look as normal as possible, but you look kind of awkward. In your mind, bees, y'all, but in your mind, you're trying to look as normal as possible and look as confident, but in actuality, you look almost awkward, or you look almost, arrogant. And really, if anyone knows you, especially the narcissist, they'll know I'm affecting you. I'm affecting you, and I have an effect and you're having a reaction. And so it doesn't line up. So those are micro behaviors, but also micro behaviors. Excuse me, I'm gonna get rid of this bee. I think I have too much perfume on to be sitting outside. So let me get rid of the bee, y'all. I have too much perfume on to be sitting out in the wild. But with micro behaviors also affect the people around you. And so you're not aware of it, and sometimes you are, but micro behaviors also affect the emotions and the feelings of people around you. So people are affected by your behavior. And sometimes those micro behaviors, they come out, whether it's a defense mechanism, and some of you have been hurt so long, and especially so you're triggered by people that may not even be trying to hurt you. And remember, hurting people hurt people. So those micro behaviors, when they come out, they hurt people, especially if a person is not in tune with, especially if you're not in the mental health field, or you're not really in tune with another person, like, that's kind of out of character, or it seems like you might be hurt. Most people don't sit around and think like that, But I just wanted to come on and just bring you that information. I thought it was very relevant, especially to those of you that are suffering, So some of you, and some of you are survivors, and some of you are still in the situation, meaning you're a victim of. So some of you are survivors, so you're no longer victims, and you can't have a victim's mentality. You have to do like the soldiers do. You have to look at yourself as a conqueror. You have to look at yourself as a soldier, and yes, it's going to take work to change the way that you think. You have to change the way that you think. Who goes to school who goes to college without a plan in their mind as to what they're going to do with the degree, right? So you have an envision in your mind that if you go for an accounting degree, I would like to work for this and this type of company. So you're planning your future with a thought. Then how is it that you can go back, think about it, and someone says negative things, and you're saying, I'm not worth anything, I'm not very smart at all, or I'll never be able to do anything like that, where you're programming your mind. Now your words, not the narcissist words, your words are incubating the thoughts that are in your head, and the words that the narcissist, you're almost like you're putting, what is it called? Not manure. You're putting fertilizer on top of their words. So you're just strengthening the words that they've released in your head, and you are cultivating those negative thoughts that were already formed from the words that they said to you in the first place. So you've taken the echoes of the narcissist and you're fertilizing that, and you're turning it over in your head, and you're agreeing with it. No, I'm not going to agree with that. You're a lie. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. You know, in your mind, I don't know where you got your remember, they're dysfunctional people. They don't think straight anyway. You know that they got an issue as it is. You know, they're thinking they live in a fantasy world as it is. So how is it that you can take something that they say and turn it over in your head, and you are where you are? You know, now it's time to change dysfunctional thought. You have to think on purpose. You have to, and that requires a lot of work. Most people that come to see me don't stay very long because they want to tell their story, but they don't want to do the work. That's the hard part, is doing the work. It's fun getting fat because the food is good. Is when it's time to lose the weight. That's the part that's not fun. That is the uncomfortable part. It wasn't uncomfortable to get there, but now that you're there, it's uncomfortable. Now it's time to lose weight. Now you have to deprive yourself of stuff. So it requires temperance. It requires self-control. That's what becomes uncomfortable. So is the healing process. You know, it was getting into the relationship. If you knew some of the things coming out of the relationship, then obviously you wouldn't have got into it. But we were tricked, bamboozled. Is it bamboozled? Bamboozled, tricked, you know, manipulated into something that we didn't know. You know, who decides that they're going to step in a mud puddle that's a big hole? You didn't know it was a big hole. If you would have known, you wouldn't have stepped in it. And so your thoughts are very powerful. They're creative forces, you know, or they're keys to your future. So they're creative forces, or they can be destructive forces. And a lot of words that were in your head were that from a narcissist who did not have a problem tearing your self-esteem down, tearing you down by how they treated you, what they said to you. And then you can see the character that they have. If you wonder, well, I'm not sure if they're a narcissist or not. Well, are they toxic? Whether they're a narcissist or not, are they toxic? Are they hurting you? Are their actions and their behaviors and their words toxic? Well, if they're not a narcissist, so that means I can stay and things can change. Okay, but if you're being abused, why would you stay in the first place, whether they're a narcissist or not? That doesn't make any sense, you know. But there are some people that have been abused so much, that's all they know. That's all they know. So hopefully this has helped you. My little bee friend has returned. I don't want to kick the stand that this camera is sitting on, but I think my perfume is really attracting this little bee here. So I'm going to have to get off the patio. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And for those of you that have not subscribed, I am Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you know whenever I upload. I didn't get a chance to come on yesterday, so I wanted to make sure I come on today and say something. I really had this in my mind yesterday. I just didn't have the time to come and film. Yep, stuff just flying around on the balcony. But I didn't have a chance to come on, and then by the time I got home last night, I was so sleepy that I just didn't want to fall and sleep on the camera. So I put on my eyelashes and my eyebrows so I could come on camera just to say something to you guys. And so I appreciate your time. I have a professional Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. A lot of times when, you know, hit the like, and Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, hit the like, you know, because I post things on the Overcoming Narcissist Abuse because that is under my book. And so sometimes when I have different speaking engagement, depending on where I go, sometimes I will not post on my professional page, because on my professional page, a lot of, you know, clients or ex-clients or possible clients, a lot of professionals will go on that, and they're looking for more of the professional stuff. And I do put my mentor on there because I do believe in the whole person concept, where she's talking about the narcissist abuse. But then on the other one, I kind of open it up where you get to see other speaking engagements that I have, or other platforms that I'm on. And Thursday just happened to be one of the platforms where I'm with other people. And if you go there, you see what I'm talking about. I was there with other people. I just took the clip out where I was talking about the thoughts, you know, just for my specific program. But also go and support my mentor. It is under YouTube as Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. For those of you that do have questions concerning biblical and spiritual information when it comes to narcissist abuse, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. There is a link underneath the YouTube video for Cash App and for PayPal. For those of you that have asked me and want to donate, I appreciate you guys so much. And also I have a book, which is Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection, on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble, is also in the link. And for those of you that are looking for licensed professionals, licensed mental health counselors, there's also a link. It's betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. For those of you that are in remote areas that don't have access to therapists within the cities, but you can get licensed therapists. Ask them about trauma. Don't go in there asking about narcissist abuse. You know, if they do know, they do that, you know, then you get turned off, you don't want to go. But some of them don't know that term yet. So ask them about, do you understand domestic violence? Do you understand severe psychological abuse and the results of psychological abuse? They understand that. Sometimes we just have, right now is one of those times we have to understand the abuse by a specific person that has narcissistic personality disorder, and the effects and how they conduct themselves. So that's what you're looking for. So some of you guys say that you've connected with a counselor and you guys are happy and you are healing, and I'm so grateful that you would share that with me. Thank you guys once again. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow between the times of 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is the West Coast time of the U.S. For those of you, my foreign brothers and sisters that are in other countries, thank you for joining me. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. I thank Greece, Italy, Brazil, Japan, Cambodia, Canada, Australia, where else do we have? You guys give me so many. Holland, Germany, South Africa, Mexico. I'm so excited. That is so exciting to me. Thank you guys so much. Malaysia, thank you so much for being here with me. That is so exciting. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Now you guys have a great weekend. Rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys go be great.